Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's TX141 here, bringing you another Ace in a Day gameplay from the arcade mode of War Thunder as always. Today we're bringing out the legendary Yak-7B. Okay, so it's not that legendary, but how did it go down in history? The Yak-7B historically was the successor to the Yak-1, the standard low altitude Russian fighter, which was reasonably good up to an altitude of 5,000 meters, at which point the German fighters such as the Messerschmitt Y9 Emil and the Messerschmitt Y9F, I'm not sure what the actual full word for that is, were more dominant. The reason why the Yak-7B was a more popular successor was because of its intended purpose. It was originally designed not as a fighter but as a trainer, so that inexperienced Russian pilots could get a bit of practice and learn the ins and outs of dogfighting and handling their respective Yakolev planes before they went into battle. A number of Yak-7Bs were converted into heavy fighters, mounting usually a pair of 12.7mm machine guns above the prop and a 20mm cannon in prop. The 12.7mm machine guns did not have an equal amount of ammunition, with the right hand machine gun I believe having slightly more rounds, although I'm not sure about that, so don't quote me fully. It was also noted that the Yak-7B was a much simpler plane, it was tougher than its predecessor the Yak-1, and it was much more enjoyed by pilots. In War Thunder, the plane pretty much qualifies as a very good training plane for the new pilot, or even the average pilot of arcade mode to get to grips with. In fact, it's such a lovely plane that it's one that I thoroughly enjoy and quite often use whenever I have a Russian lineup, regardless of rank or tier. Coming in at rank 2, it's got quite a good spread, going up against planes such as the Messerschmitt Y9 Emil, the Spitfire Mark 1s and Mark 2s, along with other fighters, meaning that you're never at the top of your game, but you've got a plane under you which can do quite well given the right situation. So anyway, we're on the ground strike map Berlin Suburbs, and the setup I'm using is a 30-minute fuel load, 500m gun convergence, and with regards to ammo, I'm using the air target ammunition in the 12.7mm machine guns, and the omni-purpose ammunition in the 20mm cannon. As you're going to see here, I decided to try and go after a PBY Catalina, which is currently flying at 5,600 meters altitude by my approximation. I completely missed my burst. However, this highlights that the Yak-7B is not intended to perform above 5,000 meters. So as you can see, as I descend, I loop over and switch the engine off to engage this Messerschmitt Y9 Emil that's coming up to attack me. It was an Emil 1 and we managed to kill the pilot and also take the right wing off. So already this plane has shown that its engine doesn't really like flying above Its engine doesn't like to be pushed above 5,000 meters, as your performance drops off quite drastically. So, knowing that, and knowing that the plane will perform a lot better the lower the altitude you use, you can already see that the Yak-7B is catered for the newer pilot, or a pilot who likes to play in the rank 2 section, which is its rank of course, but because most of the dogfights don't happen beyond 5,000 meters or it's very rare. So as I turn around using my high speed, you'll see that this BB1 on my team's got quite a bit of attention coming, especially from this lag 3, which is the right of the two targets in front of you on the screen. So I decided to go and intercept that lag 3 before he or she can get too close to my teammate. Now, as a further addendum to what I was saying, the Yak-7B is a very nice plane in terms of maneuverability as long as you keep your speed above 300 km an hour and don't let your speed go over 450 km an hour. Reason being, with speed, this plane handles very nicely, you've got a very good roll, well not very good, you've got a sufficient roll rate and you've got a decent turn circle. It can't outmatch a Spitfire Mark 1 or Mark 2, however it's enough to keep the plane competitive at lower altitudes in the turn fights. Getting close in behind this lag 3, I nailed them completely. As you can see there, I waited to open fire at the last moment simply because that lag 311 had tunnel vision. It's not a complaint, I used to have it a lot when I first started War Thunder. However, when players have tunnel vision, it's best to capitalise on that by getting in nice and close and delivering a 1-second burst which will instantly rip the plane to pieces. Unfortunately, with the Yak-7B you have a few drawbacks of course. The all-roundness of the plane means that you will always be outperformed by someone in a particular category regardless of the dogfight, whether it's an energy fight where Messerschmitt Y9 Emil, which will outperform you in the energy department, or a Spitfire Mark 1 or Spitfire Mark 2 which will outperform you in the turn fight department. You have to adapt your strategies in the Yak-7B in order to compete and hopefully defeat your opponents. Now with my rhyming and timing being a little bit off, I did it again there, I'm deciding just to hang about at 4,800 meters altitude and wait for any other planes to attack, or to come up to my altitude in order to try and push me down. Looping over, what I'm noticing is there's a Messerschmitt 110 there, but he or she's not really a problem. However, this P-36C is being a bit of a nuisance by climbing up to the altitude I'm at, so I decide to attack them before they can do any damage to any of my teammates or myself. Again, they seem to have a bit of a tunnel vision moment, so I decide to get in a bit closer. With the first little bit of my burst going completely off, so I decided to fire a few more bullets into that plane just to resettle my nerves and in order to get my targeting back in. Because the thing is, sometimes I even make mistakes and I'm not that great a player in all honesty. Again, I'm trying to stick to higher altitudes at the moment and I'm noticing that P40 is coming up. It may have been the player we just took out, however I don't discriminate against players, but it's just simply because that P40 is climbing as hard, is climbing as much as possible in order to try and come up to my altitude and engage me. So hammerhead turning over, I decide to dive down on the P40, picking up speed as I go of course, and then switching the engine off to get the final shot. As you can see there, I managed to nail that pilot completely, and there's an enemy Spitfire that's also coming up, so I decided to also go for them in the dive. Now that was a clean burst, although as you'll notice I did lose quite a bit of control of my plane because my speed is well over the limit I'd recommend for this plane, i.e. the 500 km/h or 450 km/h limit. It was flashing up on my screen, reduce your speed, simply because this plane would not be able to handle such speeds. I think the wings would actually come off in reality. However, being arcade mode, we're allowed a little bit of freedom in this regard. However, as you can see, I'm having a bit of trouble keeping the plane in a nice straight attack pattern. I see an enemy pea shooter, but I also noticed that quite a few of my teammates in a minute will be coming over to attack it. See all the bullets there. So I fire in a quick burst just to guarantee I'll get the assist and converge on this lag free instead. I run out of cannon ammunition, which is a shame because otherwise I would have taken out the lag free in the head on. Although I managed to dodge his or her fire by flying over the path of their fire and opening up with the 12.7mm machine gun. As you can see, only the left hand machine gun was firing, which would indicate that the left hand machine gun has more ammunition than the right one. So I've corrected myself and corrected what I've taught you. If you didn't know already, of course. So having taken out that lag free as well, we're doing pretty well, although we can't get carried away, and an enemy buffalo decides to fly towards us. Now in this regard, I'm going to show you why the Yak-7B is an all-rounder. I decide to open fire on the buffalo in a head-on, although I dodge out of the way. And I know that the buffalo has poorer energy retention but a much better turn circle than my Yak. So as a result, I decide to go dead vertical. And as you can see, the F1A buffalo is firing as wildly as possible in order to try and clip me as they're reaching the peak of their climb. Likewise, I was just about to enter a stall. However, even though my teammate came over to take out the buffalo, I reckon given the circumstances I would have been able to hold on long enough in order to hammerhead turn over into or stall over and attack the buffalo and get the kill. However, I'm very grateful for my teammate coming over to help, and while that Junkers 88 was quite tempting as a feast, I decided not to go after it just simply because my teammates are all chasing it, and also the game's coming to the end and the Junkers 88 can be a bit of a nightmare to kill, especially if it's come out of a dive, seeing as it's quite a fast dive bomber / medium bomber. So really now, I'm just cruising back towards the middle of the map and trying to figure a target. And what I'm noticing is that one of our enemy fighters in the bottom left of the screen is being chased by a large group of enemy planes. Pardon me. And so what I decide to do is pick up my speed by going into a short dive, especially now that I'm at lower altitudes and my engine prefers lower altitudes. And just to let you know, this plane is fully upgraded in this gameplay. And I decide to attack the whole group. I start off with that KI-45, just firing a quick burst. But my focus was on the Junkers 87, because they were flying as slowly as possible and in the straightest line possible. So now I go for the I-15 that's flying away from the group. The burst was enough to kill the pilot and probably take the plane to completely to pieces because it's an unarmoured biplane, and I'm just flying away now with my 8th kill. So I hope this gameplay has already shown that the Yak-7B is a jack of all trades plane in all honesty, because as the gameplay comes to the end I decide to loop round on this Bristol Blenheim and I get the kill, but it's out of the time limit of the game, i.e. the game had ended before I get the kill, as you're about to see. And there was the 9th kill. However, I'm not going to count that because it was after the game and it won't come up in my personal statistics. Looking at the personal statistics screen, we can see that we managed to earn just over 14,000 silver lines and just over 900 research points. Very helpful on the way to getting my I-185, but also it's a very nice haul for a plane which is an incredibly good plane for all comers, old and new. In fact, I would label this plane as the trainer for War Thunder for the simple reason it handles nicely, but you're never at the top of your game. You have to just use a little bit of initiative to win each dogfight. You have to play to the strengths of your plane, which are its all-roundedness, and to the weaknesses of your opponents, whether they're good turn fighters or very good energy fighters. And looking at the statistics, it says we've got our 9th kill there and we're top of the leaderboard, but really that should be 0 and it should be 8 for 0. Anyway, I've been TX141. I hope you've enjoyed the video and I hope my commentary's been better since the previous commentary. If you did enjoy the video, why not leave a like, comment or subscribe for future content on my channel. Otherwise, take care and see you guys in the skies.